Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton and Adam here with you as we are weekly. We've learned to say that because it might be Sunday, it might be Tuesday. Depends on when you're catching up with us. Spencer the
Oh,
Wizard is on the road. Yeah,
you
you're here on
mean
the wrong day.
you mean weekly like WEE? I just
Yeah,
thought you meant we're here, we're weak, but you got us for an hour, so take advantage.
that's right.
That
So,
never dawned on me.
so we are live on Sunday at 8 p.m. If you're catching us on Tuesday, you might be 3 days behind the conversation, but feel free to join your comments and throw them in there because I'm sure a few others will be commenting and watching along with you as we go. So thanks for those of you regulars who caught the memo last week and joined us. We got Kyle Steckley coming on, and we got so much to talk about. Um, you know, the Pinty's series in review came out over the weekend. If you didn't catch it on TSN, Joel and the video crew did a fantastic job of cutting us clowns all together along with the series and really making it shine in a good light. Did you catch any of it, Adam?
Yeah,
I
I
know I'm putting
did.
you on the
Yeah,
spot.
they
Um,
do such a Joel and his team. They do such a good job, right?
yeah, I think for me, it tends to reach a different level. Like, I got a message from my Uncle Jim today, who I don't normally hear from, who said, "Hey, I caught you guys on TSN. I thought it was really informative," and he watched the whole thing. So there's a casual fan who, knows we're there but doesn't pay attention very often, but caught his attention today enough to send out a message. I think they do a fantastic job with that. And then the reason I talked about it, because at the end of it, they kind of mentioned Kyle Steckley and saying that, you know, this year was a setup for a full season next year. So we're going to put him on the spot about that and see what he's got to say, and just talk about where he's coming from. And his media stuff has really uh, come around. So we appreciate his time tonight. Talk a bit about PRI. Adam, both you and I have been there. We got a Burger Barn video of the week or two. We'll talk about High Limit announcing their charter system and what that means for race teams. And we'll just keep going on that road. Start with a few comments. Anything you want to say, Adam? Where should we be going with
No,
this?
I don't think so. Few topics that we're going to cover. I know that they're on the rundown. That's all I wanted to make sure of. Want to make sure we mention Connor James before the end of the show. He came out with a pretty neat announcement this week as well, which I think is really awesome. But we'll get to it.
Now, we got pics of it. Go with it.
So Connor James and his dad Robert, they're going racing. They're going south to do some CRA street stock racing. And I would say it's fair to say they're doing some bucket list racing. Their first race is going to be down at Bristol. And I just think, how cool is that? I think Connor knows the end is near of his racing career. At least it seems that way. Um, so do something that's going to make a difference, right? Don't grind it out if you're not having all the fun you can possibly have. Go do something like this. Quality father son time. I think it'll be amazing memories. And now is the time, right? I just think racing is so very expensive. The investment that people make to go racing, you better be making it memorable.
I think it's a brilliant play. I mean, Connor's been a driver who's bounced around many different series, most recently Ontario Sportsman Series, but we've seen him everything from the APC Series right across Ontario. I think it is cool to be able to go and race Bristol and some of these other tracks that you grew up idolizing. I think it's a cool play. I'm kind of surprised you don't see more. I guess the travel is what people would complain about, but hey, if you're ready to go, make a weekend of it and make it happen.
But you know who did it, and I have huge respect for him, is Steve Laking. Years ago. Said, hey, I want to go to Hickory and race. Hey, I want to go to Nashville and race. Just because that's what he wants to do. And I just, like I say, good for him. In his case, I mean, his dad Brock passed away quite a long time ago, and they were a tight racing duo. But I think just doing things that make him happy is just so commendable. It's so cool. You only live once.
We talked a bit about Glenn Stiers earlier, and you and I were talking. He should be going down and doing the Arca series. Getting down there, you're getting on bigger tracks and kind of hitting some bucket list things. And For the amount of money he spent in the Pinties, he could probably have a pretty solid season with ARCA somewhere to rent a ride. But we'll see. Glenn's all over the place, so you never know where he is. Kyle Steckley is just getting signed in. We'll get him signed in. A couple things I want to touch from the comments, Adam. Kevin Miller's photography auction is up. Look up Kevin Miller Photography on Facebook. Their charity auction ends tonight at 9. So slide in there before the soft close and pick yourself up some some cool swag or some cool racing souvenirs and help out a great cause. Latest talk on SRX, Adam. Our TV deals did not go well. We'll talk about that, but the deal is still hanging by a thread. We can discuss where we are with that. We did talk about doing a pit road rush weekend in this. I'm just answering some comments. I think it would be awesome if we had a pit road, kind of like maybe Peterborough, where it runs in behind Victory Lane like that. I think we could really build something cool in the infield. I would love to see our sprint cars running their 2 minutes out there. If you want your 2 minutes to work there, you're doing it in front of the fans in the infield. I think that would be exciting too. But, we're still a little bit away from that. But to answer the other question, SRX is not contingent on a pit road at our place. That has never come into discussion at all with my discussion. We'll come back to SRX. Let's talk about Kyle Steckley now, who's ready to join us. Kyle, welcome back to the program. We appreciate your time. Just like we tell all the hot shoes, the more you win, the more you have to put up with us. So we appreciate it. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on. How are you guys?
Good, man.
We're doing good. The Bills just won. That makes us feel good. It would have been horrible. We would have come on heartbroken had they lost that game. But enough football. Let's talk racing. Talk about a top 5 finish in the Snowflake, Kyle. How rewarding was that? What were your hopes when you went down there? And how do you feel now that you come back with a 5th place result?
Yeah, I feel really good. It's definitely huge to go down there with our own team, 22 Racing, and be able to perform the way we did. And I think it shows a lot for our program up here and the competition there is in Canada. And with the amount of cars down there and the competition, the money that gets spent to run inside the top 5 the whole race, I was really proud of that. I wish we maybe could have held on to a 3rd place finish there and been on the podium, but at the end of the day, finishing in the top 5 in that field was really good.
Kyle, you've been doing some one-offs in the States. This is another one. You're not tied to any point series. There's no real reason to go. So why spend the money? Why make the investment? Is it a bucket list thing? Is it to get noticed? What's the motive behind the effort you're putting forth?
Well, we're racers. At the end of the day, any race I can go to, I want to go to. And these are some of the biggest races out there. So to go down and take our own car there and do something that is, reasonably doable, something that we can make work and have some fun with. Obviously, the Snowflake 100 was put together through the APC Series and APC Auto Parts Centers and winning the championship up here. So that was really cool. And Nashville was just a bit of an add-on. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go and to get some laps under our belt down there with them guys, the best in their rules, their tires, and their package. So, I think Nashville was a huge help for our Snowflake 100 effort, and I think it was a big reason we got the results we did.
Kyle, anytime a young racer comes along and shows some success and shows that they've got what it takes to travel, make it to the next level, you almost become a commodity. And you guys had to have been solicited by different people who want you to come and race with their series or their team, places where you can spend your money. How many conversations did you have down there of people wanting you to run the Cars Tour or ASA or, insert title here of what they might ask you to race?
Definitely quite a few. It's really cool, once you start having a little bit of success, the amount of support you get from guys back home here in Canada is unbelievable. I'm really thankful for all the support everyone showed me, but the amount of people that start talking to you down there, shock guys, axle guys, parts guys, they all want you to start running their stuff, asking you what they're running, if they can help you out here and there, which is really cool. And then obviously there's a lot of good series that run down there that are always looking for more drivers, the next big thing, and something to bring some more audience to their series. So it's really cool being able to talk to everyone and, make connections here and there and be a part of it.
Kyle, we've seen you come in as kind of a timid rookie, kind of quiet kid. Now we've seen you blossom into almost a tough veteran in a short amount of time. For you, when did the confidence kind of, I say the switch flips in my life a lot. When did the switch flip for you that you realized, man, I can do this. I can kick the best guys' asses out there, and now I'm the guy they're worried about when I toe in the gate. When did that kind of switch for you?
I think I was always pretty confident going into racing, especially in the late models. I had a lot of success the first year at Flamborough Speedway, and we won our first APC race, which definitely gave me a ton of confidence. And then 2022 came around, and I say we struggled. We still ended up finishing second in points that year, but it was definitely a huge learning experience, and it was tough on me, tough on the team, but we made the most of it, built our notebook, and we came back this year with a ton of confidence. And I felt strongly in my team and strongly in myself and my car that we could go out there and beat everyone.
So this might seem like a strange question, Kyle, but where would you like to go over the next couple of years versus where do you think opportunity is going to be for you over the next couple of years? Because somebody has to pay for what you're going to do. Obviously, you've got some great supporters, but they all factor into decisions as well. So does the path, can you see the path in front of you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I always wanted to race in the NASCAR, which is now NASCAR Canada Series, because of the history we have with my family and my dad's team, obviously in it. So I think that's an option that's very, very doable with the support I have and the connections and amazing partners I have in Canada to go. But I think every racer wants to make it big time in the top three series in the States, and hopefully we can work something out to get down there and run some more races and, keep getting my name out down there and make connections down there to hopefully do some more racing down there. But obviously we have some great partners and supporters that are Ontario based, and it's a big deal to, support them if they're supporting me. So we'll see where it goes. But obviously I'd like to get down to the States and keep moving up the ranks and see where I could go. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now as well.
Have we made an official announcement on 2024, Kyle? If not, when do you think you'll be announcing your plans?
Nothing's official yet, but hopefully before Christmas. I want to get news out as soon as possible, and we're working on some things. I think we have some cool things in the books, something that not everyone's going to be expecting, but I think it's going to be a ton of fun and a great opportunity for myself and my partners and my team. So hopefully it can be out before New Year's, and we can let everyone know what we're doing for the 2024 season.
Has anybody signed? So how many NASCAR Canada Series cars does 22 Racing have inside its shop or in its haulers, wherever it keeps them? How many cars are in the fleet right now?
There's 7 right now.
Are any of them spoken for 2024 yet with contracts signed?
No, not one.
That's pretty wild. And that's top-notch equipment. So we're not really putting you on the spot as much as we ever would, but there's a lot of moving parts that go on in these off seasons, so it'll be exciting. And you've had your hands in each of those 7. Do you work on those, or do you mostly stick to your late model program, Kyle?
I stick to my late model program a lot, especially this past season, but years past I've worked on a ton. I still help out as much as I can throughout the season and the off season when I'm not quite so busy, but I definitely stick to my own late model program a lot of the time. With doing over 20 races in the late model, it definitely keeps me busy, but I'm still there at the track as much as I can, going to the Pinty's race and helping out where I can.
I got a quick one for you, Kyle, from the message, and I might want to come back and change gears a bit. Kyle, the question is, was that your APC car you ran at the Snowflake, or did you guys build a new car?
It was the same car that we ran all year in the APC series.
Okay. My other question I want to change gears is, although nobody is signed to the 22 Racing, as Kyle's telling us right now, let's not get into panic mode. Those are by far the most highly touted cars in the field. And if there's not deals yet, it's just because Scott hasn't put the pen out yet, or, the numbers aren't great yet. But, there's not one driver in the series that wouldn't want to, drive those 22 racing cars. So I'm sure there's going to be some cool announcements coming out in days come. Kyle, are you surprised? You've been around the series long enough with the family. Are you surprised by silly season this year? It seems like to us there seems to be a lot of upheaval behind the scenes. Nobody's really announced anything yet, but holy crap, I can't believe how much upheaval's going on behind all these teams right now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wild. I mean, I think it's really good for the series that there's definitely a ton of interest in it. People are moving, people are doing this, people are trying to get better, and a lot of people want to win in the NASCAR Canada Series in 2024. So it's cool to hear the rumors, and a lot of them are just rumors, but we'll find out in the next couple months all what's happening with a lot of different teams and drivers, and the 2024 schedule makes things quite a bit different for a lot of teams. So I think everyone's just trying to figure out their plans with partners and with their team and what they can and can't do. And I'm looking forward to seeing some announcements here soon.
What was the thought around Milverton when that schedule came out, Kyle? Because it is quite a bit different. You've got 2 weeks now committed to the West, 2 weeks committed to the East. That's quite a bit different than anything the series has done.
Yeah, it's tough for the teams. I definitely understand where NASCAR is coming from. From a fan's perspective, it's really cool to be able to go across country and do multiple races in each part of the country, and make it a bit more of a countrywide series. But obviously by doing that, it makes it a lot harder financially and numbers wise. Just even getting cars ready to go to the track, there's quite a few events that make it tough to prepare cars for at the level we do, and the time it takes to do it properly isn't easy. So it makes it harder on the teams a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're doing it for the fans and we're doing it for the show. So I'm sure we're going to make it happen to be at every race and have cars there at the highest level to go out and hopefully try and win races, and we're going to make it happen no matter what the schedule looks like.
Kyle, how many, I don't want to put you on anything official here, but how many teams would you say, or how many regular cars, I guess would be the right way to say it, how many drivers can your team 22 Racing comfortably field? Are you guys a 2-car team for the season, and that's your capacity? Can you stretch it to 3 if the money's right? Meaning, if a driver comes in with a rental program, what do you think is the limit for you guys? Where are you most comfortable at? Is it 2, 3, 4?
It's definitely tough. I think some guys would say we could easily do 3 teams, but I know the work and preparation that we put into the cars and the way we want to do it. I'd say 2 cars is the most you want to do comfortably, just based off testing and all that stuff, getting ready to go to the track, crew guys, and on and on and on. It Once you get to 3 cars, it makes everything a lot harder for testing reasons, crew guys, and it makes it tricky. It's definitely doable. It's not necessarily the work in the shop, but it's more the at track time, the testing, and the crew guys is really tough to have everything organized. But 2 cars would definitely be comfortable out of the 22 Racing shop, and that's probably the financially the best way to do it for 22 Racing.
Kyle, did you feel as though people knew who you were when you went down there and ran in the snowflake?
I'd say not as many did before as they do now. I definitely had a lot reach out, a lot come up to me and talk to me after the race, and it's really cool, honestly, to see how many eyes are on that race, and the people that have reached out afterwards that watched the race and seen me run up front, which is really cool. That's part of the reason why we wanted to go down and make a name for myself a little bit. So that was definitely really cool, and I feel like gained a lot of followers. And when you go to a race like that, there's so many eyes on it that you don't know who you're going to attract.
I left that question a little bit open just to see where you might go with it. You nailed it. In terms of our racing overall with the APC series, are people familiar with what's going on up here, Kyle? Do they know who McCall Racing is, or 22 Racing, or WMI?
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people know of McCall chassis. They've had a decent presence in the USA over the years. I think, they did quite a few races with Brandon Watson. I know Jake Sheridan went down a couple times. So a lot of guys know who McCall Racing was and the chassis that we were running, but not everyone knew how big of a series we have with the APC United Late Model Series. It's really, really strong. It's probably better than a lot of series that run regularly in the USA. So to go down there and kind of bring a little light to the series and what APC Auto Parts Centers did for me because of winning the championship this year in the series was really cool. But I think people knew about what we do up here. They just didn't necessarily know the size and how well everything is ran up here.
Kyle, you mentioned a lot of people reached out to you. You got one name in particular that kind of surprised you? Like, hey, man, I'm surprised that this guy messaged me after.
Well, Kenny Schrader and me are staying tight, so that's pretty cool. He called me as soon as the race was over, so that's always cool to have somebody like him always reaching out and talking to me, and not necessarily one in particular, just parts guys who are owners of companies that everyone uses here. Axle guys, Ernest Shocks, on and on. And guys like Bob Sargent and Tim Bryant, owners of tracks and series promoters that, come over and reach out to you and say how great that you did to come down and run how we did. So it's just really cool to see all of the names from down there recognizing what we're doing and, coming over and talking to me about how we did.
How stressful were those restarts, Kyle?
They were stressful. We were struggling a bit on restarts, honestly. I think gear ratios and the transmissions weren't quite right for Five Flags, but we didn't lose any positions, and the restarts at the end got pretty stressful. I didn't really have a short run car, so I was fighting off as best I could there at the end to keep my positions, but ended up falling back 2 spots. I wish we would have got a long run there at the end because my car was kind of coming to me before the caution with 20 to go, and then we had that red flag, and I think that definitely hurt us quite a bit. But the restarts are crazy. You're shifting. It's a bit tougher than the APC starts, and you got to be on the game because everyone else is for sure.
Kyle, you're not announcing anything yet. One of the questions we got is, would you still dabble in the APC if you end up in the NASCAR Canada Series? The schedules don't have a lot of overlap. I mean, obviously, depending on where you are and where they are, but is that something you would still mess around with?
Definitely. I love the APC United Late Model Series. I think they've done a great job with everything they're doing. They added some longer distance races this year, which I think was a really big success. I think a lot of drivers liked it. I think the fans really enjoy it. And everything they're doing with you guys at GeForce TV is huge. The amount of people from Milverton that watch the races every weekend that wouldn't go to the track is huge, and it's really cool to see. So I'm going to do as many APC United Late Model Series races as my schedule allows, and I'd love to run for another championship, and we'll see if we can make that possible. But if not, I'm going to be at every race that I'm not racing somewhere else.
Heard a number of drivers in various interviews, and usually when they were down there, it was disgruntled drivers upset about something, complaining about tires. How challenging was the tire situation down there, and how does it work compared to how it works up here? With Grisdale's handling the tire inventory, do you have any control over what you get, or was it the Wild West?
No, it was honestly really similar to how we do it up here, which is not necessarily normal for how they normally do it down there. Normally, there's a room full of tires, and your tire guy goes in there and picks whatever tires you want, and you're allowed a certain amount, and you can pick that many out of the room, and it creates for a lot of looking for codes, looking for this and that, and what you want in a tire, and it creates a lot of games. But if you do it right, I think it definitely does help. It's just definitely a cost thing a little bit, and knowing what you're doing and picking the right codes and all that. So they had it set up for the Derby for both pro and super lates that you're just picking stacks. And I think that changed a lot of things for guys down there, but it played into our wheelhouse of very similar to what we do up here with Drysdale Racing Products and how we get tires here. So it wasn't really an issue for us. We had a good tire guy helping us and making sure we had the proper staggers for our sets, and we never had an issue down there.
Kyle, maybe explain that for some of the viewers. When you say you're just picking stacks, so are we talking that in the previous time you go in there and you pick every individual tire out of the pile, and it's like it's a big free for all, right? Or however it works out.
Yeah.
Now they're picking 4 tires or 6 tires and stacking them up, and you're just picking which pile you think would be best for you. So first off, how many tires are in a stack, and how much info are you able to look at, and can you grab? Does it have the stagger marks or chalk marks on them already? What's going on there?
So they're put in stacks, and everybody runs the exact same chalk mark, and the exact same size and compound and all that is the exact same in every single stack for right sides, 2 right sides, a left front, and a left rear, and that's what you get. You don't get to look at codes. You don't get to choose this or that or what size your left rear is versus your right rear, and you get a stack of 4 tires. They've got the same chalk marks as every stack of 4 tires, and that's what you're stuck with, and you got to make it work.
Cool.
And how many tires did you go through?
So you're allowed in Pro Late models 2 sets of practice tires and a set of race tires, but we did go down and test, and we ended up going through 5 sets of practice tires and 1 race set, so 6 sets in total, which honestly isn't horrible for the amount of practice you get in the testing that we did, but it definitely seems like a lot compared to what we do up here.
Kyle, how tedious is testing? Like, do you ever get days when you're just like, man, I'm around here by myself doing nothing? If for me, I don't know. I don't think I can keep the concentration to hit my marks on a Tuesday afternoon when no one's around, no one gives a shit. I know it's important, but man, how do you keep concentrated on that?
I don't know. It's awesome. Testing on a Tuesday is great. You're at the racetrack and you're in a race car. So, every time I get in a race car, I'm ready, I'm dialed in, and I'm going to hit my marks and make the race car the best I can. So I love testing. I think it's a huge thing in racing that gets overlooked by a lot of teams, and teams don't realize how much work you necessarily have to put in to make your car the best of the best. And it all comes down to driver and car, meshing together and finding the sweet spot that the driver needs in the car to be fast, be consistent, and be there in those 100 laps in a Pro Late Model race.
Kyle, you do such a good job explaining how things work. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I don't even know how long and tedious a testing is because I don't go to the test. It's not part of my function. But Clint asked a great question, and you do a fantastic job. You're patient with us, and you answer all the questions we've got, and we appreciate you for it. Please, when you have an announcement to make, let us know. We'll get you back on. We won't make you talk for half an hour. We'll just let you make your announcement and make it quick and painless. But we appreciate you coming and chatting with us.
No, awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys. I always love chatting with you, and look forward to making an announcement here soon so everyone knows what I'm doing in the 2024 season.
Right on, Kyle. Thank you. Hey, it's like I tell the guys in tag. You don't want to deal with us? Suck more. You won't have those problems. Go finish 20th.
Yep.
We won't call you no more. It'll be all right. No, Kyle's really come a long way. It's great, Adam. I don't know whether we're just getting old or how it is, but we see more of these young kids coming up and watching them grow up. I see some of the kids we used to call the races with at Osh Weekend, like Kyle McGrinn's a freaking father now, which is ridiculous.
His oldest kid just got his driver's license.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
That's nuts.
But
we see it. So this might get things a little bit out of order, but it's been a tough week. It's been a tough few weeks. Let's pay our respects to Wayne Ashton, who recently passed away. Again, racing family. Wayne and his brother both did a lot of racing in the area on dirt. Pete Shepard, Sr., just passed away, and that's we all knew Pete from the racetrack. always wandered around the track. He loved racing, and Clint, he paid attention. He knew who was doing what. He knew who was fast. And he came from a generation when racing was a little bit different than it is now. I think more attainable, but his circle of friends still tight to this day. Rich Grady made a beautiful tribute to Pete Shepard. So did Pete Shepard Jr. So did Susie Spellick. It was just really nice to see, and what a shame for that family to have lost Pete Shepard almost a year exactly after losing Bill Zardo.
Yeah, we do have a Bill Zardo feature here. So, this was sent to us by Billy Zardo, who said, "Hey guys, almost a year after my grandfather's passing, and of course he's cousins with the Shepherds who just lost their grandfather too. So, let's run this. This is Racing's Colorful People. Let's take a look back at Bill Zardo."
The things I really like about motorsport, the second and first generation guys usually still around. You find that in Indy cars, NASCAR. ACT has it as well. Bill Zardo Jr. and Bill Zardo Sr. running independently, but they have learned a lot off each other. Why don't we get to know them a little bit better? NASCAR has them. Bobby and Davey Allison, Kyle and Richard Petty. IndyCar has them too. Mario and Michael Andretti, Al Unser Jr. and Sr. And the American Canadian Tour has them too. Father and son racing efforts. The guys are easy to spot. Z as in big and little Z. It's the American pronunciation, but it's the nicknames of Bill Zardo Jr. and Bill Zardo Sr. 50-year-old Bill Zardo Sr. and 34-year-old Bill Zardo Jr., both of Brampton, Ontario, have been racing against each other on the American Canadian Tour since 1989. But have they learned anything off each other? I mean, is this a classic son follows dad routine?
Well, in about 1961, I started helping a guy by the name of Jim Hallahan. I helped him for a couple of years, and then I went and bought one for myself.
Yeah, it was really hard to ignore. I've been around racing all my life. My father was such an influence on me. I needed to take the wheel.
The Zardos are still looking for their first tour victory, but between them, they've started over 120 events with 50 top 10 finishes. Bill Sr.'s two grandchildren, Petey and Angie, are already showing an interest in racing, so just maybe these Zardo totals are going to go even higher yet. Bill Zardo Jr. and Bill Zardo Sr., two of racing's colorful people, brought to you by Kodak.
To continue it on to. It was a shot from Raceline Radio. Eric Thomas, who's just retiring here, announced his retirement. We're going to try and get ET on. I worked with ET at Maryville for about 10 years, and man, we're just, I hear Massingbird is being inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, as he should have been many decades ago. So great to see Big John in there and ET back in there. Let's try and get Eric on next week. But shout out to the Zardos, always cool. And you got that other clip, Spencer? They, in that same race, things got out of control, and, these guys always jump in and run it.
The holes or out of the corners here at Mosport. They've got the horsepower, but man, has Crouch got it figured out. He gives up about 50 to 60 horsepower to Junior.
Oh, my goodness.
Big crash up here. LePage in trouble.
And John Grady is upside down. The right front tire has come off the LePage automobile. A vicious hit into the outside.
That is turn 4
wall. The red flag is out.
at the Mosport Oval.
A vicious shot.
Fire, Dave.
There is
Dave
a bit
Mooney
of a
called
fire
it,
under
too.
the John Grady car. The field has come to a stop. The red flag is out, but right now the concern is for John Grady.
He's in there.
He is still in that automobile.
So
The safety
here
crews
comes
are
Zardo
on the
out of his
scene,
car to
and
jump
this
in
is a
to the
very
Grady
serious
car.
situation. The fire crews are there. The extinguishers now being put onto the flames, and while our view being obscured a bit, there are drivers on the scene. There are safety crews on the scene. John Grady
Drivers now running over to give it a hand here, Dave.
they are going to flip the car over to try and get John Grady out of it as soon as possible. And you can see they've got a lot of help there. That's the Kevin LePage car.
That's terminal, man. Look at that thing.
He's almost an afterthought to this thing, but he took a very hard ride, to say the least.
First bit of good news, LePage out of the car quickly and over the wall, stunned, and what a crash.
Look at that
What a
crowd.
wild shot
On the
there.
other side
Woo!
of the pit wall.
Where'd you say that was, Adam?
Mosport.
Wow.
That was the
I never got to see
Mosport Oval.
I never got to see the Mosport Oval.
Turn 4, the exit of turn 4 at that place was bad fast.
So
3
where
and
would that
4, you
be
carried a ton of speed.
in relation to the property now? Like where the
You know
go-karts
when
are?
you know how you have to turn off the main road? You get off
Mhm.
you get off the highway, you turn off the main road, and you drive for about 5 minutes. Then you
Yep.
turn right onto a smaller road that loops around to the left.
Yep.
Just as you loop around to the left, if you went straight into the parking lot, you'd be in the parking lot of the oval.
Okay.
So the oval would have been even beyond where the go-kart track was from where the road course was.
Got you.
So
Because they have that one
instead, we
first
follow.
building.
Yeah, yeah. And
Interesting.
it was funny. Warren says the Mowats would have had good success there. Larry Jackson did a lot of racing there. The track was exhilarating and it was fun. It had really long straightaways. The pits had the kind of dust and dirt, Clinton, that you couldn't get out of your skin for 3 showers. Oh, it was dusty in there.
And where would that have even come from? It's not even dusty up, sandy up on the hill, is it? I guess
No,
parts of that area is.
it was just a super fine dust. And
You know, if
again,
you go camping at CTMP in the woods area there, it's kind of, there's some sand and stuff. Yeah, I guess so. Interesting.
yeah.
Burger Barn Video of the Week. Well, it was PRI show this week, Adam. Everybody in the racing world converges on Indianapolis for a big business piss up, I guess you can say. If you're a racer and you like to party, it's the place to be. All the deals seem to get made in the bars, but all the latest products and innovations for all types of racing come out. And, so we'll see what comes over that in the next couple of days. There always seems to be a bunch of things trickling out. A lot of announcements come out. We have one Burger Barn video of the week. This is one cool product that got sent in to me. If you're a solo guy trying to move your sprint car around, check this. It's a sprint car mover.
So far, it's done everything that it allowed.
So just hook it onto your crash bar, and it'll spin your wheel for you, forward, backwards. So, if you're a single guy trying to move the car around in the garage, you can now remote control the wheel and turn the wheel at the same time, and it'll push the car for you by itself. That was kind of neat.
A sprint car.
For a sprint car.
How hard is it to push a sprint car? It's not like it's a 3,000 pounds.
No, but think about it. Okay, so if you're a solo guy like Travis Cunningham, my brother Mikey back in the day, you're trying to move your car around your shop by yourself. You don't have to wait for the crew to come over and get someone else to help you steer it while you push it. It's a little more tougher than you think. Or if you're trying to roll it up onto the trailer, you can roll it right up there without 3 guys having to push it. No,
I'm with you. I get
you're gonna
it.
shit on the one video I bring to the table this week.
You know what? You found it. It's fantastic. Your brother Mikey wouldn't reach into his pocket, blow the cobwebs out of his wallet to buy one of those things.
No, but it should be for a guy like that.
So
what are your
the
thoughts on
PRI
the PRI show?
You need to go. If you've never been, you have to go. I haven't been in a lot of years. I worked a lot when I was working for Leaf Racewear. Worked a number of shows. It is very much a gauge about who is serious about their racing, who gets the business side of things. We would look for drivers that we wanted to be wearing our suits in different parts of the country. That's where you'd meet them. That's where you'd get to have a conversation with somebody. I saw Donnie Schatz had a schedule of about 10 promotional appearances during his time at PRI where he's going to be signing autographs or meeting people. It's just such a huge business. If you spend a lot of time and a lot of passion, which if you're watching this, you obviously must, in motorsports, do yourself a favor at some point, go to the PRI show just to be reminded how freaking big our industry is.
Yeah, it can take you 2.5, 3 days and still not see everything there is to see there. It's pretty amazing. And make sure you check that out. High Limit announced their charter system this week, Adam. Do we have any clips of it? Do we have any screenshots of that, Spencer? I don't know what we shot in. Here it is. High Limit Racing announced details on the High Limit charter system fully implemented by 2026. 10 total charters handed out. 5 be given to the top 5 teams at the end of next year. The next 5 to the next 5 teams that didn't already get them. and 26 charter will receive 50% of high limit streaming revenue annually. Now, this is a big change in the industry, Adam. This is basically, if you're wondering why the World of Outlaw and High Limit are battling, this is where it's at. The Outlaw drivers seen that the, Dirt Vision was making millions of dollars off subscriptions every year off their product that they were towing to the races every week with their race cars. They wanted a piece of the action. High Limit and Brad and Kyle stepped in and they started this. You can get off that, Spencer. It's good now. They have, said basically we're going to start our own series and give back to the teams. And this is at the core of it, Adam. Now, this could be a game changer for them because, High Limit, I think, does bring in a lot of viewership and a lot of money.
If I'm a young racer, let's say I'm Mikey Krechka, okay? Mikey was always looking for a way to be able to go racing. He enlisted support from people, but sometimes it was in the form of loans, right? Clinton used to say, hey, front me this for an engine, you'll get paid back over this amount of time. Take a young racer who really wants to make it in the sport and say, I know I can do this. Back me for these 2 years until we can get on the program. Like I know now you're talking business. Now Dylan Westbrook might be a prime example where if he was in the mindset, look, this is my chance to make it. I want to form a race team. Commit to this. Miles, hey, if we can do this for 2 years, get a charter. Now all of a sudden you're not reaching into your pocket quite as much. It is a little bit different in the sense that the revenue share is going to be much more predictable because it's flow racing and not a pay-per-view, right? So their agreement would be with flow, and it's going to be some sort of a formula, which who knows how that'll come together. But exactly, Mike, you got Spencer Basin, Zeb Wise. Emerson Axum is going wing 410 race and just left the Clausen team. But you've got a system where someone can see light at the end of the tunnel and equity in a team. And maybe, just maybe, it would have put in someone like Steve Kinzer or Sammy Swindell into it even more financially viable. Or Brett Hearn is a great example of what he does. You get to the end, what do you have? You got nothing.
Yeah. I think you're right. They're limiting it to 5 charters, though. So there's still a few carrots out there and a few things you're going to have to perform. You're going to have to be in the top 5 to get one. And then you're going to have some money or performance to get through the second year to grab the other 5. So you basically have to be in the top 10 by the end of year 2 to have a shot at this. So, you're right. If you're young, you may be able to make this run. I think it's interesting. It's certainly going to open up a can of worms as to, how much money did you make running for High Limit? And Outlaws are going to be forced to do something similar before long if this has any kind of play up, So I think this is a big. And
maybe it'll amount to nothing, but I just think there's potential there. I mean, look at the list of names we've talked about. A Max McLaughlin, who saw him jumping from a modified to get into a late model. Maybe he looks at this and says, "Hey, this is where my name can be cemented." Who knows?
If you accept this deal, it said it was in lieu of tow money and point money. So you're not getting all your point money and tow money and 50% of the revenue. You get kind of an either-or thing, and I'm assuming that would be more on the streaming end of things. But, hey, I think it's interesting.
It would be predetermined, though. Like, it's not like it's going to be up in the air, hey, maybe this will work. I'm sure it'll be pre-negotiated so you at least know what you're going into.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a basis number to go off based off last year's view counts, and they're going to have a good idea what the math's going to be, I'm sure, before anybody would have to sign. But that's the beauty of it. They have all this year to figure out what the math is and to get the numbers where they need them to be before they have to pay anybody out at the end of this season still. So.
And the Ducks all have to line up. How long before Brad Sweet throws his hands up and says, screw this? Being a promoter sucks. Because it sucks.
It's in a bit deep now, but it does suck. It's not fun.
Right?
But, let's talk about the border. We always talk about especially a lot on here lately about high limit and World of Outlaws, and I got an epiphany last week. Kind of came to me like a lightning bolt. The you know the whole reason, the divide. With all these drivers coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm going with this series. I'm committing to that series." And if high limit or Outlaws says, "Hey, I'm going to Canada," and a driver or a team for whatever reason doesn't want to get a passport, can't get across, they're just going to say, "Hey, I'm jumping to the other side." So neither side wants to take that Canadian stance right now because it'll just flood a couple drivers to the other side, most likely, who don't want to take the hassle to have to come across. So,
Do you want to hear the
kinda where
other
we're
side
at.
to that?
Yeah.
Flow Racing knows their membership base in the U.S. They also know that they've already sold X number of memberships. So any growth is going to be gradual. It's going to be predictable. It's going to be okay. Like, we really got to keep humping. Now you talk about a new market. Talk about Canada, the 51st state. The growth could explode. Now, give these teams a share of the revenue and say, hey, we expect a 15% spike if we take this series to Canada because the Outlaws aren't going there. We are going to invade Canada to take over this market. It's going to lead to sales. It's going to put money in your pockets.
Not bad. I was on Brad Sweet's ass again last week for the final time. I told him I'd leave him alone because we finally put it to bed. And he said, man, we get it. We'd love to make it work, but it's just too tough right now. So, I don't know, man. It's where we at.
And you can see why. I mean, even what the networks did to you, Clinton. To me, I just don't get it. Who the hell is running? Who is running these operations? Like, you don't say no to an opportunity. You say, what if? How do we? No, just no.
Yeah, so I guess we're getting into the SRX talk a little bit now. So, basically, television networks, TSN and Sportsnet, both said not interested in SRX. Not a, hey, can we work it out? Not a, hey, let's talk about it. Just no thanks. So that kind of leaves us in a sticky point now. We're ready to pay $250,000 US is what it is at Ush Weekend. I mean, I'm dropping the math figures out. We're talking 350,000 Canadian dollars to bring SRX to Canada. Glenn's okay to go for it, which is a shit ton of stress and tickets, but I think it's the next biggest step for us. SRX wants to come, but they need a Canadian market partner here to televise these races and pick up a large cost. Now, they were with Rev in the past. They're looking for a lot of money, but there was definitely a business play out there. But where we are today, with PRI being on the weekend, obviously it's a big business weekend. So Thursday we left it with the executives that we would retouch it Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. So in a day or two we'll figure out where we were. Obviously Tony Stewart is a principal in that. He announced he'd be going full-time Top Fuel Racing on the day we were having this talk. So he said he couldn't even get to Tony with PRI and the big announcement until sometime start of the week. So I guess they're going to talk about it, Adam. And you've been quietly saying in my ear all along, like, man, they wouldn't take you this far if they weren't serious about making this work one way or the other. I hope you're right, buddy. We've done everything we can from a promotion side. I guess I'm just pissed off. We're willing to pay whatever money. We're willing to give any dates we want. We can't get the World of Outlaw. We can't get High Limit. We can't get the Lucas Oil 8 models. Can't get possibly not SRX. Like, man, it's shitty to be a Canadian promoter when I got Glenn's backing and we can't do nothing still. It's just bullshit.
You know what, Clinton? The landscape is changing. Not for the better, not for the worse, but changes are coming. Did you see Chris Steele's post on Instagram? Rally racing at ski resorts? Listen, it's time to open our minds. It's time to open our minds and start flipping people the bird. So you don't want to come to Canada? Go F yourself. We're going to do some really cool shit up here because really cool shit has been happening. There are not many places in the United States that have had the cool things done, the amount of money dropped into these series that flows through to the racers. There is shit happening up here that is not happening down there, and it's almost time for us to say, you know what? Stay on that side of the border. We're still going to go. We're going to go to Eldora for your big races in Knoxville, and hey, it's all good. But when it comes to getting creative, you got at some point you have to stop begging.
I feel like that. I feel like we've been begging. What's it going to take? Come on, money. Blah. Mike, to answer Mike, is it the border with SRX? It's a border because they need the ESPN people. They're all union folks. It does, raise the cost quite a bit because I started asking questions. I'm like, come on, you're going to Slinger. What's 4 more hours? How does that cost 150 grand more? But we'll see where we get with it. I'm very hopeful. I think it'd be a great, people ask why. Why take that risk? I think it brings the best series we can possibly get to Wash Weekend, opens us up to a new eyes. If you get the SRX and you can get from Toronto, Marco Andretti and Joseph Newgarden fans, and from wherever, from St. Thomas area, the drag fans come out to see Ron Capps, and the NASCAR fans come out to see Kyle Busch. There's all kinds of superstars that we can hopefully draw new people to the backyard, and they'll recognize that. I think that I took a lot of shit from our regular fans and sprint car people why we brought the Pinty series, because there's tons of fans in this country that believe that is the best racing out there, and it's amazing racing on the pavement. But then those fans come and witness sprint cars last weekend, we blow their heads off. So there was a reason why we did it. We turned a lot of people into dirt fans that week, So, yeah, the Ohtani disaster for Major League Baseball. We should be able to get SRX. I'm still trying. You guys know I probably shouldn't be giving you all this inside business, but I think it's important to bring you guys along for the ride. I mean, I talk to Adam about all this shit every day, so why not you guys? We talked about plans coming out. Quickly, show the Axiom post, the screenshot there, Spencer. You mentioned it, Adam, that plans are coming out for these drivers.
And you know what? Part of the reason I thought it was interesting is that Emerson Axiom is leaving Clausen Racing, which is really an elite top-level team, to sort of bring it back to a family-run operation where they plan on running 90 to 100 wing sprint car races this year. I'm just thinking, man, the commitment to run that many races is just phenomenal. And it's pretty normal. Like, there's probably a couple dozen, if not more, sprint car teams who run that many races in a year. But amazing to see, to watch some of these announcements take place. And then in the back of my mind, I always wonder why this is going down. Why would they leave that? But if the Axioms can handle having a family-run operation and running 80, 90, 100 races a year, I guess it's probably not too stressful to go back under the family umbrella.
Captain Chris Lawrence just messaged me and said, hey, Clinton, we're going to talk about Florida coming up. Are you guys wanting to talk about it? Yeah, we're recording right now. Next week we'll get you on. So we'll get Chris Lawrence on a week. He's responding to me right now. Schrader's Racer of the Year, Adam. You want to talk about this?
I just thought it was really, really cool.
Show the things
we take for granted and the things that get rewarded. And that individual is not down on one knee. His left leg is that much shorter than his right leg. He was born with no arms and one leg significantly shorter than the other. And he's been rewarded by Kenny Schrader. They had outfitted a car so he can get out there and participate in motorsports. So the next time you think you're having a bad day, or maybe you've been dealt a raw deal, there are people out there who overcome so much more and are able to achieve things that you couldn't even imagine. So good for them. Good for Kenny Schrader for recognizing that. And I didn't know all of that story, but I saw enough of it to see that that's pretty cool.
I got it here. 17-year-old Joe Renfro from Wyoming, born without arms and the left leg is 2 feet shorter than the right. Despite the challenges, Joe races dirt cars in Colorado. He wanted to follow in the footsteps of his dad, brothers, and stepbrothers and race, so his dad built him welded extensions on the gas pedal and brake of the Mustang so he could operate them with his left leg, which doesn't have a joint. It's one bone from his hip to his ankle. Joe can start the ignition and put it in gear, and he steers with his right foot on the wheel. Why is he pictured with Ken Schrader? Because the fine young man is the winner of the Ken Schrader Race of the Year Award, which is given annually to an oval track racer who overcomes the greatest challenges to start or continue racing. Pretty cool. Schrader's a solid dude, and cool on him to award that to Joe. Man, we had something else to talk about too, and I forget what it was. Trackhouse, yes. This was something we had from last week, Adam, where you and I were fighting about it. And, you didn't like the way they were entertaining you. We'll get to you about this.
All right. Here's a quote from Justin Marks, who is an amazing business person, a visionary. It's been in the ethos of Trackhouse since the very first day to put in the work, have the vision, and deploy the enthusiasm and passion necessary to build one of the most valuable motorsports entertainment companies in the world.
Now, what don't you like about it?
They're not an entertainment company. They're a business. Who are they entertaining? If they show up and nobody else does, there's not much to that show. I'm splitting hairs, but if you're going to quote something and blow it up into a social media post, it should make good sense. I like motorsports entertainment because I like sports entertainment, so I do like that side of things. But I just found it interesting that they participate in motorsports entertainment, but they're not an entertainment company. The people who collect the money at the gate, they're the entertainment company.
See, I can get along with what they're saying because we keep saying we're in the entertainment business. We're not racing, we're in the entertainment business. So I feel okay with the race team calling themselves an entertainment business. New way of thinking. Same way as we call our people not sponsors anymore, we call them marketing partners because it sounds better. Sounds less beggarish.
And I think, I forget what you and I were fighting about. It was going to be good if we'd have done it while we still remembered. The moment's gone. Mike, to answer your question, I've always been a label peeler, which in some of the environments where we work, it's important to know what drink. Pretty much. It's important to know which drink is yours. So I guess I don't have that argument when I'm at home, but nobody pays me to drink their beverage, so I don't feel the need to promote it.
I got to toot our Schweeken horn a little bit here. We have a great team that does our marketing. Mike Morris has been out crushing it again. We're already over sales quite a bit than we were already last year, which is astounding. These are a couple things that we have on the Schweeken Speedway website. We also have them at on here in hard copy as we go out and do our sales. So I just want to show these off. This is our Schweeken Speedway marketing proposal. So this is kind of the stuff that we're preparing to take out to sponsors, and you can view this on the Schweeken Speedway website. It's got everything you could want to see about the racetrack, how much it costs to sponsor things, how much to buy billboards. So this is the kind of artwork we're putting together with a guy like Greg Callan. And the other thing we did new this year is our partner guide. So if you see this around, this is our partner appreciation guide. This is the logos and contact information for everybody who does business at the Speedway throughout the year. So if you're looking for any services or any products, we'd like you to go on the Schweeken Speedway website, check it out. This is 40 pages almost of some of the best businesses around who support the Big O. So go on there if you're looking for any services or anything. Check it out and help the ones that help racing. Yeah, it's on the Schweeken Speedway homepage down the right side. The partner appreciation guide is one, and then the marketing guide is the other. Cool.
Looks good. Looks real good.
Schedule's coming together pretty close. We're about 80% on the Schweeken schedule. I can tell you we're going to have some kick-ass sprint car races this year worth a lot of money. And a big deal on the July 12th, which we hope to announce very shortly. Anything else?
I don't know that we do, really. Business as usual. We really don't want to see too many more death notices, folks. It's there's been enough of that. But to think of some of the stories that would have gone, just take Bill Zardo and Pete Shepard, right? The number of stories that left with those two. So thankfully, there's still people that can share them and tell them along, because I'll tell you that it was a more colorful time. That's for sure. It was a different time, though. This is the glory days for somebody, Clinton. There's no doubt about it. But that was a different time.
That's why I tell everybody Schweeken, we got full fields in all four classes. these are the glory days. These are the golden years for us. You're going to be telling your kids, I remember when they used to get 35 car zone classes. Well, we're doing it now. So remember, it's a quick story on Pete Shepard, his son. So Pete the third's dad and Pete Shepard's son, Pete in the middle. Manitosh weekend this year after the NASCAR race, I pull up to my campsite, and it's probably 2 in the morning from doing the rounds on the grounds, and I reel back in, and I can't get out the door. Here he snuck up beside me, kneeled down, and put his shoulder on the door. So I'm thinking my door's broken. For 5 minutes trying to get out of my door in my pickup truck, and he gets up out of the dark laughing his ass off. Oh, man. Just comes from that generation of good jokesters. Get you every time.
Yeah,
Well,
they're fun. Pete and Sharon are fun to be around. They all are. Good show. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday night, a different night. But when the producer has to work and go away for work. Oh, I do want to mention Mindwell session coming up December 20th. It is going to be done online. Spencer has agreed to come back and produce it, so I'm really pumped up about that. And then we're going to probably host some live events here in the new year. So mental health still at the front of people's minds, folks. If you're having challenges, please don't suffer alone. Please reach out. Sometimes it's only a matter of telling your story to someone who will sit and listen and show you that they care enough to give you the time to tell you what's going on. But there are people out there who will. Please don't suffer alone.
Man, hit me like a ton of bricks this week. I've been really good this off season. Normally depression takes me to the dark side, but man, Thursday, Friday were rough for me. So thankfully I had, some good chats and straightened it out. But you're right, Adam. If you're struggling, talk about it. We appreciate it. Appreciate you do for us, Spencer. Travel safe on your work stuff. We'll see you again next week. I think we got one more show, and then we're off for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we should have the 19th. Yep.
And then we're off to 26th and whatever comes after that, and then we're back. All right? Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you, Spencer. See you soon, Adam.